Well, good Monday morning, New York Jet fans and NFL fans. It is January 10th, 2022, 7:13 a.m., and the 2021-2022 regular season has come to an end after 18 weeks, after 17 games, and probably one of the most exciting and head-scratching weeks of this season, maybe in the past few seasons, with the way games ended up yesterday and this weekend. Um, a lot of upsets, not a lot, but some real big upsets. A lot of playoff teams that not going to the playoffs. A lot of playoff teams that are going that 3 weeks ago you didn't think would be there. Excuse me. Reports right now that from Ian Rappaport that the Bears and Matt Nagy will part ways. Also, the Broncos parted way with their coach after 3 years. But let's go into some of the games that were played this week on Saturday. The Chiefs beat the Broncos 28-24. The Chiefs go to 12-5 and finish 12-5. Broncos end off 7-10, and like I said, they parted ways with their head coach. The late game on Saturday was the Cowboys and the Eagles, and these two teams to possibly meet in the playoffs. Um, I don't know the playoff bracket yet. I'm going to take a look and let you guys know before this video is over. But the Cowboys win 51-26. Cowboys end up 12-5. Eagles end up 9-8, and the Eagles do have a wild card. In a cold, windy MetLife Stadium yesterday, the Washington football team beat the Giants 22-7. Um, Twitter world and NFL world were just a buzz as the Giants were down. I think it was 6-0. Um, they had the ball on like their 1 or 2 yard line, and basically they did a quarterback sneak twice, one on 3rd and 9, and the sparse crowd that was at MetLife made them hear it. Twitter made them hear it. Beat writers made them hear it. Other NFL personalities and reporters made them hear it. Whether it was on Twitter, whether it was on during the games or in highlights or lowlights, everywhere. You know, the thing is, you're figuring you're you're 3-12. I'm sorry, 4-12. Why not on 3rd and 9? What do you have to lose? But that was Joe Judge's call. Saquon Barkley had another subpar game. I think he averaged three yards a carry. Um, right now, what we do know about the Giants is that Gellerman is probably out. There was reports that he was on the field yesterday taking pictures with family members, almost like a goodbye to the team. And and there was also reports that Joe Judge would be around next year, along with Daniel Jones. And the way these last few weeks have played out, I don't know. It was almost as if Judge was almost confident he'd be back. And even if you're confident you can be back, you should be making better decisions. But game ended 22-7. Washington goes to 7-10. Giants go to 4-13. Steelers and Ravens. Let me tell you, the Ravens coaching staff and players did a wonderful job with the way this season played out. That tie to the Lions about 2 months ago really played into a factor yesterday. The Steelers needed to win to get in, um, I believe, or a tie, and then they needed anything but a tie for the Sunday night game, which was the Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders. So the Steelers beat the Ravens. They come back to win that game 16-13. The Steelers go to 9-7-1. Ravens go to 8-9. And they kept saying, well, Big Ben may not have played his last game. They just can't tie tonight. I'll get to that in a few moments. Packers and Lions. Packers basically wrapped up the #1 spot early. Their starters didn't play a full game, but the Lions win. And a shout out to the Lions fans. They went out there last game of the season. Yes, they went out there also to see Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and there were some Packer fans out there. But this is a team that I said earlier in the week has every year a Thanksgiving game, and they fill that stadium up. Has not been in the playoffs in years, and they fill that stadium up. And they went out yesterday, and they went out. And you know what? The future may be. very bright for them. They're a team that has a good coach, and I think they're going to be moving up. And I don't think they're going to be a laughing stock much longer. So, of course, the Packers lose 37-30. They fall to 13-4, but they do win the number one seed overall in the NFC. Um, Lions go to 3-13-1, and that one tie was against Pittsburgh. Colts and Jaguars. Colts need to win to get in. Jaguars played inspired ball. Again, I give a lot of credit to the interim head coach and the staff and Trevor Lawrence. They beat a Colt team that needed to win, a Colt team that beat some pretty good teams this year. 26-11, Jaguars go to 30-14, Colts go to 9-8, and both of their seasons are over. Bears and Vikings. Vikings win 31-17. As heard earlier, the Bears will be parting ways with their head coach, Matt Nagy. Bears fall to 6-11, and the Vikings go to 8-9. Titans on a seesaw game with the Texans. The Texans gave a little bit run for their money, but the Titans wrap up the number one seed overall, 28-25. They end up 12-5, and the Texans end up 4-13. And the Texans have a lot of question marks against them. Titans will have a bye next week in the playoffs. Bengals and Browns, no Baker Mayfield, no playoffs for the Browns this year. I thought there would be at least a wild card team. They dropped games they should have won. They had a lot of injuries. At one point, I think they were down to their third string quarterback due to protocols. Um, Bengals are a playoff team. The Bengals dropped yesterday's game. I don't think Joe Burrow played, but Browns win 21-16. Bengals end up 10-7. Browns end up 8-9. 49ers and Rams. 49ers win and you're in. 49ers come back. They win it in overtime, 27-24. Rams end up 12-5. 49ers end up 10-7. Um, both teams, they may be seeing each other in the playoffs pretty soon. Panthers and Bucks. Tom Brady with a 13-4 record this year. Just amazing. They beat the Panthers 41-17. A lot of questions with the Panthers, with their coach, with their quarterback future. Remember, the Panthers started off 3-0 with Donald. There was, that new start and that fresh beginning out of New York. McCaffrey went down, and that's when their season probably went downhill. I think they mustered 2 wins with Cam Newton, and Cam Newton came back. 41-17, 5-12, Panthers, 12-4, Buccaneers. Seahawks and Cardinals. Basically the Cardinals, couldn't get the number one spot. Seahawks played a really good game early on. Russell Wilson was being banged around. He gave up, I think it was a strip sack fumble on like the first or second play from scrimmage for a touchdown. But Seahawks win 38-30. They end up on a 7-10 record, which means a lot for the Jet draft. The Cardinals end up 11-6, and they will be playing this week in the playoffs. The Cardinals. Patriots and Dolphins. So the Patriots had a scenario to win the AFC East. They had to beat the Dolphins. Jets had to beat the Bills. Neither one of those things happens. At the Dolphins win 8 out of their last 9 games. They just barely missed the playoffs. They win 33-24. They did pick off Mac Jones for a touchdown. And you want to think that that's the game that Mac Jones wants to get out of his way before he goes into the playoffs. Patriots end up 10-7 with a rookie head coach. With the rookie QB that was drafted the same year this year as Zach Thomas, Trevor Lawrence. And the Dolphins end up 9-8 after starting off 1-7. So kudos to the Dolphins. I'm not sold on their quarterback, but I think their coach has them really going in the right direction. Saints and Falcons. Saints win 30-20. They go to 9-8. Falcons go to 7-10. But the Saints come up a game or so too short, as they had their injury bug early on and just cannot get enough wins to get into the playoffs. So 9-8 Saints, 7-10 Falcons. Game of probably the season, and I'll tell you how this plays out. Okay, so now the Steelers win. All they don't need to do is, or all they're hoping for is not a tie in the Charger Raider game. So in Las Vegas, Raiders, I have said all year, from the Gruden incident to the wide receiver incident to with the accident to the social media incident with the other player with the threats, all of that, they still have a chance to get into the playoffs. They win and they're in. They're in their home stadium. When they finally have fans in, they call it the Death Star, whatever you want to call it. Charges with Abear or Herbert, whatever the hell, how you say his last name. Um, to me, was a favorite to get into the playoffs and to make a run. Raiders start off; they're up 10-0. You're like, all right, Raiders are playing really inspired ball. They're ready to win this for their fans. Chargers come back, tie it 10-10. The game goes back and forth. I'm going to be honest with you now. At one point, it is 30, 30? No, I'm sorry. 29-14, I want to say. 29-14. That's where I fell asleep. Okay? I put it on, and I hear that after a few fourth and longs, fourth and tens, a penalty, a couple of conversions, Chargers get it within a touchdown. Okay? 4 seconds on the clock, Chargers scored a touchdown and tie the game. Now they're in overtime. Okay? So now all Pittsburgh wants is for a team to win. They don't want a tie. Okay, so you got I'm pissed picturing because now I'm awake. Now it's kind of late. Now it's probably after midnight at this point, and I'm like, all right. You got to think Mike Tomlin, the rest of the Pittsburgh Steelers team is up. Maybe Ben Roethlisberger is laying in bed watching this game. Did I play my last game? Raiders take the ball, they go right downfield. You think they're going to score a touchdown? They wind up ending off with a field goal, so they're up 32-29. Okay. Chargers get the ball. First play from scrimmage in overtime for the Chargers. A beautiful designed rollout pass. They pick up like 35, 40 yards, illegal man downfield. So it was an RPO, so it was a run pass option. The lineman played it as if it was a run. He kind of went up a few steps off the line of scrimmage. They called it for illegal man downfield. That kind of threw off the whole drive. It ends up with the Chargers hitting a field goal. Okay? Like, all right. Now, the field goal kicker for the Raiders has not missed in his home stadium all year, and Chris Collinsworth kept saying that. And I'm thinking they're going to jinx this guy. Raiders get the ball back. They get to about midfield. It's about the 2-minute warning, and they kind of look content with, all right, you know what? I'm not going to cause a turnover. I'm not going to put the ball in the air. We're going to take a few chunks of yards, whether it's a yard or 10 yards, as long as you don't give the ball up, get the clock down. And, I'm not saying they were playing for a tie, but I'm thinking even if it was a 60-yard attempt with no time left on the clock, they were going to attempt that. Because at that point, they're in. A tie gets them in. A win gets them in. A tie gets both the Chargers and the Raiders in. Chris Collinsworth at this point, is going back with Al Michaels and saying, even before this happens, what if it had 2 minutes with no timeouts left? Do you try or do you just play it out? You want to think that this team is playing for a win, but you're playing for the playoffs, okay? With about 35 seconds left, and they're in field goal range, the Chargers call timeout. And it, Collinsworth, I really not a fan of his, was like, what are they doing? Even the QB for the Raiders were kind of looking like, why would you stop the clock and give them that chance? You listen. I don't know what was going through the heads of the Raiders, but to me, it looked like they're playing for the tie because if they don't have to line up for a field goal doesn't. There's no chance of the field goal being blocked. There's no chance of the field goal being um, a muff punt, a muff snap. There's no chance of a turnover. Basically, you play for the tie and you're in. It's like taking a knee and at the end of a half. Well, at that point, now The Raiders like, all right, you gave us a timeout. They run the ball, they get in the field goal range, and they kick a field goal, and they win. And I as great as it must have been for the Raider fans there, I could just see Pittsburgh fans, they were in Baltimore, so they were probably home by this point, because it was probably 7 hours after their game ended. So they're home. They're wrapped up, they're taped, they're probably iced. They're having maybe a meal, maybe they're having some coffee, and they're watching this game. And maybe people are the teams at the facility, and you're watching basically the Chargers give you the playoffs. So the game ended 35-32. Raiders get into playoffs at 10-7. Chargers missed the playoffs at 9-8, and to me, that's a disgrace because the Chargers are a playoff team. I take nothing away from the Raiders who played their hearts out yesterday, and nothing away from the Pittsburgh Steelers who were looking like a you know 6-win team probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So I will have the playoff matchups coming up in just a moment. Let's talk about our Jets, Jets. They go into Buffalo and they lose 27-10 on a game that the Bills needed to win the division, unless Miami can beat the Patriots. Both of those things happened. Um, it started off, it was 10-0 Buffalo. The game to me seemed like Buffalo was just so fast. That the defense was so fast, the offense was so fast. Um, but then the Jet defense kind of clamped down a little bit. And for most of the second quarter and all of the third quarter, the Jet defense kept that team in it with 3 and outs and forced punts. Um, they just couldn't get anything going. The punter for Buffalo had two muff punts and a block punt. And the block punt, I mean, basically was on a botch snap by him, a botch reception of a snap where he actually fumbled the snap, picked it up. I thought was going to try to run or throw for the first down, and he ran and kicked, which I thought was amazing, but was hit from behind, and the ball went like maybe 20 yards up in the air and 5 yards down the field. Um, the Jet offensive line gave up 9 sacks. Zach Wilson was beaten, battered, and bruised. Um, when he had some chances, he was okay. His best pass came on a sidearm slinger to Coles on 3rd and 10 that went for a 40-yard touchdown. But that was it. Jets got to within 3 points, and then they just couldn't hold on, and they wound up losing 27-10. Um, I will do an end of the year video. I'll go over grades and what I think we need and where I think we look good and where we need to improve and who I'd like back. But yesterday, to me, the game was just too fast for Zach Wilson, too fast for the offensive line, and then at one point, too fast for the defense. But the defense held their own for over a half a game. Most of the second quarter, all of the third quarter, where they played inspired ball. Mosley, Williams, um, but I think that the coaches need a lot of help. This is, I think, a great learning experience. Zach, I wish you would have had a better year, but another game where he didn't have a turnover. Um, so Zach's stat line for yesterday is he only attempted 20 passes, but like I said, it was before the game. They said it was snowing and raining. It was windy most of the game, so he was 7 of 20 for 67 yards. I'm sorry, for 87 yards. He averaged 4.4 yards, one TD, no turnovers, um, and rating of 66.0. He did rush twice for 24 yards. His long was 20. Um, and basically that's it. And 87 yards in the air, 40 came on one play. So you muster that into 9 sacks, a lot of pressure. And there were things I saw that the kid did and didn't do. Yesterday, wind-driven rain and snow in Buffalo, they're in field goal range, and instead of taking, you know, a loss of down or throwing the ball away. He took a sack that knocked him back 10 yards. Luckily, our field goal kicker hit it. But other than that, it was, some poor decisions he made. I will give him a pass for yesterday. I mean, what can I say? Um, the kid's going to learn. He has the arm strength. I think he has the confidence, because he can make some tight passes. We need to keep this kid up and not have to use his feet. Keep him in the pocket as much as we could and learn to be a pocket passer and take off if he has to. But I'm not going to, make any harsh judgment calls or brash judgment calls on he's going to be the next Montana or he's going to be the next Jamarcus Russell. I'll hold that um, uh, for the future. I'll hold that for my end of the year. I just, I can't believe we went through 18 weeks of football, 17 games. Um, and again, they are out of the playoffs once again. The last time they were in the playoffs was in January of 2011 against Pittsburgh. And, you know, because everything is a week later this year, it was 12 years ago yesterday that the Jets played their first playoff game. Um, when it was Rex and Sanchez, they went to Cincy and they beat a Cincinnati team who was favored to go deep. And the day before was the 11-year anniversary of the Jets going into Indianapolis and beating Indianapolis in last play regulation with a Nick Folk field goal. So I miss those days. I miss the stress of those games. Probably the only game other than early on in the season that I was stressed was last week when I really wanted to win that game for my father against Tampa Bay and Brady. But um, you know, the last 6 weeks, it's been about seeing progress. Who's stepping up, who's not stepping up, and there are players that did and players that didn't. Also, some quick news: the coach of the Vikings report. I can't think of his name. Reported that he hasn't heard anything from ownership yet about his future. Pete Carroll is meeting with ownership this week, maybe as soon as today or tomorrow about his future. So there could be a quarterback, I'm sorry, a coach shakeup, and Pete Carroll's future may also impact Russell Wilson's future. So that is it, folks. 17 regular season games. The wild card weekend starts this week. Raiders at Bengals, Bills at Patriots at Bills, Steelers at Kansas City. Wow! And I'll have a preview this week on Friday about these upcoming games. Um, and that's it. I I'm gonna hold off on my report right now. I'm just trying to get my head together and try to assess the whole season and where we, stand as a team and as I stand as a fan on what I've seen from this team and ownership. And that's about it. Um, I will be honest. I liked the Joe Douglas pickup a few years ago as GM. Um, I read yesterday. I forgot what reporter wrote it, but it was if Douglas has a draft like he did in 2021, um, he'll be out of here. If he has a draft like he did in 2020, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. So um, I'm going to hold judgment on that. I want to see what we do with these two first round picks. The picks will be number 4 and number 10. Um, and I think the Giants piggyback on our 4 and they go to the 5th. And I think they have the 7th. So it's going to be an early draft again for New York, but they'll have 4 picks between the two teams, New York, the Jets and the Giants. And I just want to see what happens in the free agency and the draft, and see what this team does. I think Coach Sala is a good coach. I think he needs a lot more to learn. Um, there's some situational coaching that I'm not too fond of, but that'll hopefully come into play soon. With experience, he has 1 year under his belt. Um, and we'll take it from there. So, were you at the game yesterday? Did you watch the game? Were you just not into the game? Did you stop watching the season? Um, Let us know. We can be reached on our Twitter handle at the Takeoff. We could be part of a Facebook group that we have, the Takeoff, where we discuss the games. You also can email us at thejetstakeoff@gmail.com, which you can send me pictures, videos, anything you'd like, um, stories. If you have any stories, please tell me. I'd love to say them over the air. If you want to do the video and send it to me of your story, I'll put it on. I'll put it on the, my YouTube videos. Or you can reach us here on YouTube at the Takeoff. Please, you could follow us, subscribe to us, retweet, tell your friends about us. We'd love to get as many followers. I love the critique. I love to hear from others, um, and I'd love to hear from Jet fans. Just we have you know uh, I don't know what you could call us, a labor of love with this team. You know, so I just I'll leave it with that. I hope you enjoyed these videos for the 17 weeks of the regular season. My new videos coming up will be around the playoffs and predictions, and of course end of the year stuff. But please let me know how you feel, and I hope you have. It's a new week. I hope you have a great week, a healthy week, stay safe, um, be healthy, have a blessed week, however people say it. Um, the season, regular season is now over, and now our off season has begun. And if I know Coach, what I like to think Coach Sala is he's planning his end of the year, close out with the team and hopefully start their strategy for the new year. Okay, well, have a great week and go Jets.